This is DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. It forms a double helix structure and is found within the nucleus of each cell in the body. DNA contains all of our genetic information. It is like a set of instructions giving each cell the directions that tell it what to do. The information in DNA is stored as a code made up of 4 chemicals: adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. A and T always pair with each other, and so do G and C. Depending on how these are arranged, the DNA's instructions will be different. DNA is stored in long strands of information called chromosomes. There are 23 pairs of chromosomes in each cell of our body. When 2 people reproduce through sexual reproduction, their offspring will inherit half their chromosomes from their mother and half from their father, creating 23 pairs of chromosomes. The genes children inherit from their parents will determine their physical and behavioral traits. Let's look at how genes can determine our physical traits. Genes can be found in different forms. There are dominant genes and recessive genes. When a dominant and recessive gene are both present, it will always be the dominant gene that is expressed in the individual's appearance. For an example of this, let's look at the Smith family. Anne Smith has blue eyes, and Tom Smith has brown eyes. Anne's blue eyes are determined by 2 recessive genes, but Tom's brown eyes result from a dominant brown eye gene. When they have a child, because Tom's genotype is dominant, his brown eyes will be expressed in the child. Unlike physical traits, it is much harder to determine how our behavioral traits develop. This is the reason for the nature versus nurture debate. It is difficult to determine which aspects of our personalities are determined by our genes and which are determined by the environment we grew up in. Children can also inherit genetic disorders like cystic fibrosis from their parents. As well, they can inherit certain gene mutations that will significantly increase their chance of developing cancer.
The Human Genome Project was a scientific research project that began in October of 1990 with its main objective to sequence the human genome, or in other words, complete the gene map, by determining the 4 bases A, G, C, T, and a strand of DNA. The project was completed by May of 2000 and has since then greatly expanded our knowledge of the human gene. Knowing the sequence of the human gene has allowed scientists to discover the errors in a genetic code that lead to human disabilities and illnesses. It has also allowed scientists to discover the different genetic codes that determine different genetic traits. Knowledge that has come from the research done by the Human Genome Project can be extremely useful, as well as an important advancement in technology if it is put to good use. The technology that has resulted from the Human Genome Project raises many ethical debates and concerns with how the technology could be used, since it questions the morale behind its different potential purposes. For example, it can be an extremely positive advancement in technology if it is used to cure genetic illnesses and disabilities. However, if it is not regulated properly, it could be an extremely negative advancement in technology. For example, if it were used for superficial purposes, such as eye color, hair color, or height. The Human Genome Project provided the world with a knowledge that would greatly advance us in the structure of DNA, as well as provide us with information that we could use to put the knowledge of the structure of DNA to use by altering it in order to cure genetic illnesses or disabilities.
Genetic disorders that can be detected and corrected by altering DNA is a good idea because the cost of maintenance in later in life can be costly financially and emotionally through expensive treatments and medications. The family is also faced with picking up costs that healthcare doesn't provide. This is emotionally draining on the family and caregivers. If we can correct such mistakes, the family and healthcare system is saved from a lifetime of suffering and financial stress. So what does it mean by altering the genes of a child? Basically, it's a procedure done in the fertility stage where doctors combine the genetic material in order to make the baby free of any certain defects. The solution can be many parents and wish to have a baby but know that they carry genetic disorders that prevent them from having a healthy baby. Since doctors are able to fix genes of disorders, they can as well choose certain genes from parents to create a perfect child. This knowledge can be manipulated in creating what is known as a designer baby, where genetic material is tweaked to allow parents to pick and choose certain features such as eye color and height to improve their baby. This can be easily argued as plain as God. In our opinion, we are absolutely in favor of correcting defected DNA to produce a healthy baby, but we believe that this should be helped to illnesses such as autism, Down syndrome, etc. These costs should be covered by healthcare, and if parents choose to manipulate the DNA to create a designer baby, they will be responsible for all costs. This follows the same rules as plastic surgery, where reconstruction surgery due to accidents is covered by healthcare, but for cosmetic reasons, the person is in charge of all costs. Overall, we are in favor of helping future generations strive in the world with the Human Genome Project.
The research done by the Human Genome Project has broadened our understanding of the different genes that determine the different attributes of our body. It has allowed us to have a deeper understanding of the large influence that such small mistakes in our genetic code can have on people's lives, as well as raises ethical debates on the subject of correcting these mistakes. The Human Genome Project provides humans with the opportunity to change the DNA of an unborn baby, which can have many positive effects as long as this technology is regulated properly. If the idea of changing DNA is used responsibly, it can be used to cure people of genetic disabilities or other serious problems that would negatively impact their lives. The government, of course, would have to put in place a strict set of rules to prevent people from taking advantage of this technology. We wouldn't want people changing unimportant features of their baby, such as eye color, hair, or height, as we must always keep in mind that the burden of living up to the standard of being a perfect designer baby is not the pressure that any person should ever feel. The research found by the Human Genome Project would be an incredible advancement in our world if we used it for more important matters, such as curing someone of an illness or disability. The knowledge that came out of this research has not only allowed us to have a deeper understanding of the makeup of our DNA, but has taught us of the advantages that DNA modifications can have for our society in the future.